Yo les presento muy rápidamente. Está con nosotros Miguel Salvador. Miguel Salvador es sueco. Okay. Trabaja en el Servicio de Empleo de Suecia, en el Arbetsförmedlingen. Okay. Y trabaja en Lund, que es una zona que está en el corazón de uno de los clústeres de tecnología más potentes de Europa. Si alguno de ustedes es un cinturón negro en algún tipo de desarrollo informático, es un muy buen contacto. Un buen contacto que les va a contar aquí cosas y que después lo van a tener ahí en la mesa. ¿De acuerdo? Empezamos.
Okay. Well, I have a Spanish, a Latin name, but I will do my presentation in English. And as my colleague said, I am Swedish. Well, I'm born in Sweden, I lived in France, and then I lived in Spain, 2 years actually, and then in Portugal, 8 years. So when people ask me where I'm from, I usually say I'm from Europe, because I think it's the most adequate answer. I'm going to talk to you about living and working in Sweden, and in the part of working, because living you can always do, but working is, I believe, the most important thing for you to know. And I have 15 minutes, so I will speed it up. You might ask me questions at the end, because we are sending this live, and perhaps if you have any questions, you can make it, and the people out there will be able also to hear your questions and my answers to those questions. Okay, living in Sweden. Sweden is a very large country, 1,574 kilometers. And I can tell you that 80% of the 10 million people living in Sweden live in the part between Stockholm and Malmö. So from Stockholm and up to Kiruna is like no people at all. It's a lot of bears and trees and some roads and cold, dark. And in the south of Sweden, I will talk very briefly about a region which nobody can pronounce yet, which is called Öresund region. Nobody knows about it either, and it's pity, because it's a huge region regarding the ICT and the life science fields. In this region, well, Öresund region is Copenhagen, and it's the southern west part of Sweden. And in this region there are 10,000 ICT companies employing 100,000 engineers, and the growth rate per year is between 1,000 up to 3,000 new employments. And on the life science sector, this is one of the biggest in Europe. Novo Nordisk is the leading company and situated in Copenhagen, and they are in need of employing around 2,000 new chemical engineers or experts in the medical field related to medicine. So they need to employ about 2,000 per year the next coming 10 years. So this is a huge demand. It is only one of the, I believe it's like 60 or 70 companies in this region. And at the same time, we are constructing in Sweden, in Lund, in my city, 2 big laboratories in the field of physics. One of them is to study the materials by using light and neutrons, and the other one use also light and protons. And I could speak about it for half an hour, but I don't have the time. The main thing is that in 2025, these 2 laboratories will be working at full potence, and it will be the only ones in the whole world combining these 2 technologies. And they are estimating a growth in the region with 25,000 new jobs, which is huge, because Lund is like 100,000 population at the moment. Okay, typical Swedish. You know, Systembolaget, we have these wine shops. This is typical Swedish. Then we have IKEA, and Ibrahimovic, and Björn Borg, and ABBA, and you know. And also very beautiful pictures about the, about the nature in Sweden. And of course, if you see this picture, you want to go there right now, because this is perfect, fabulous. But don't forget, this is like 1 to 2 months per year. And the rest of the time is like this. And like this. And yesterday was like this. What I'm trying to tell you is that Sweden is a beautiful country, yes, but in the winter it's quite tough to live there if you are used to this wonderful weather. You have the possibilities to get out, take a beer, and have a nice time. You don't do it in Sweden. It's cold outside. So you don't spend that many time out. You are mainly indoors. Have this in your mind if you are deciding to come and live in Sweden. Okay. As you perhaps know, European citizen, as you are, you have the right to work in Sweden without a work and residence permit. And you have this, the same right you have to your family members if they are not European citizens. As long one of you are there working, your family citizen, which perhaps are not from the EU country, or also have also the right to be in Sweden. If you got a job in Sweden, you have to remember to register at the tax office so you can get the tax card, so the taxes can be paid. It's very important. And you have always the right to register the public employment offices in Sweden, always. So if you get to Sweden and you want to register, this is the right that you have. Remember it. The labor market in Sweden. Education is essential. Education and working experience is important for those looking for a new job, especially in Sweden. Most of the employers are asking for at least 3 years of proven working experience. And if you don't have an upper education, you are competing with Swedes who can the language. So remember it. I already have informed you that we are in need of engineers and technicians, and it's on the mechanical sector, electrical sector, and metallurgical sector. In these cases, you don't need to speak Swedish fluently. It's enough with English. But, of course, the employers will be more interested if you are interested in learning the language. And of course, there are only 10 million speaking Swedish in Europe. Not even that, like 9.5 million. But if you know Swedish, you are also able to learn Norwegian and Danish quite fast because they are quite similar. Not Finnish. If you are an engineer, we are working very much with LinkedIn. And the main reason is that it's almost impossible for us to get all of your CVs and remember who you are. You are several millions, and we are all over Europe. So we are asking all of the professionals to register themselves to our LinkedIn groups because we are there informing of the job opportunities, of the events connected to these professions. So if you are an engineer, please join Engineers for Sweden, Euro-Sweden. I believe this PowerPoint presentation will be at the European Job Days, and also this movie will be at European Job Days. So you are able to go home, and tomorrow, the day after, to go in and see this movie and see this presentation and all of these addresses. Okay, the next field is of course IT, ITC, also telecommunications. Specially qualified professionals with experience in IT architecture and software and system developers. And it is expected that the demand for IT professionals is going to continue at a higher level over the next 10 years. And here we have two groups, one for Sweden altogether and another one for the Öresund region. Why? Because there are 10,000 companies there, so it's quite important region. So be a member there, apply to become a member in these two groups. Then of course health. Everyone needs nurses, everyone needs doctors, and we also need them in Sweden. And of course we also have a LinkedIn group for those. This group is really new. We started for a week ago, so there is not that many members yet, but this is going to grow very fast. So if you have a degree, if you can work as a nurse, please join this group. We have all the information and all of the events placed there in Sweden. Then we have some skilled professions with surplus. That means don't bother to apply because we have lots of people applying for these jobs. Photographers, journalists, administrators, librarians, biologists, lawyers, archaeologists, geologists, architects. Sorry, we have lots of these and too little jobs to apply for. Another professions with higher surplus is of course clerks, waiters, caregivers of children, administrators, nursing assistants, truck drivers. They need those in Norway, not in Sweden. Warehouse workers, and of course in with tourism industry. Come on, you saw the pictures. Our tourism is not that great. It's wet and dark. And of course, we have an unemployment rate of 10%. 90% of those are people without higher education and applying for these kind of jobs. So the competition is huge here in these professions. Okay, work in Sweden. Language skills. The main obstacle for foreigners to find a job is, of course, not speaking Swedish. The Scandinavian languages are similar, I already told you that, and English skills are important in many professions. And if you want to start learning Swedish, you have the possibility to go to this website and start doing it at distance. And if you are going to Sweden, target Stockholm, because in Stockholm they are actually opening the doors to Swedish education at what we call SFI. It's education for newbies in Sweden. But it's the only city that I know that the city council is opening the doors for the Europeans. In my region, you can't do it. You have to have a job first. Working in Sweden, we have temporary and permanent contracts. Probationary employment for 6 months is the most common. Full-time is 40 hours per week. We have 25 days vacations per year, and at least 4 weeks you have to take it during the summer by law. Average monthly wage for 2013 was like 3,300 euros, minus taxes. And we don't have no national minimum wage. We have collective agreements in most of the occupation which ensure fair wages. So if you are going to work as a waitress, you will receive a wage of 2,000 euros minus taxes per month, approximately. As an engineer, you receive 3,000 euros a month, and if you have, say, 5 or 10 years of experience, you can receive 6,000 to 7,000 euros a month. Okay, a typical Swedish workplace. This is very important. We have flat organizations. one boss, and that's it. That's enough for most of the companies. We are used to work in teamworks, and you are expected to take initiatives. Don't wait to the boss to come to you and tell you what to do. You have to take the initiative and find solutions for the possible problems. We are very informal. We say you to everyone besides the king and the queen. They are the only two. The prime minister, everyone is you. And it's nice. We have gender equality and, of course, strong trade unions. And with gender equality is that, of course, we are trying to see that in most of the labors we have as many women and men as possible. So we have a lot of manly nurses, and we are trying to increase this for men. And technician works, we are trying to introduce this more and more for the women. So we have gender equality, and also in the salary, same salary for both genders. Taxes, very quickly. Most of the taxes is the council tax, and you pay between 26 and 34%, depends which council you are living in. And then if you receive more than 39,000 euros per year, then you have to pay 20% in state taxes, or 55. If you receive more than 55,000 euros a year, then you have to pay 25% in state taxes. Example: if you have a salary of 2,000 euros, you will receive 1,450 euros in your hands. And the tax deductions include social insurance and pension fees, but not unemployment benefits. So they are private. So if you are going to work in Sweden, please don't remember this. Contact an Euros advisor. You have a job, contact an Euros advisor, and we will advise you. And if you want more information, you can always go to the tax office. The information are in English also. Skatteverket. Unemployment benefits, as I told you, I'm just going to drop this out because this is quite complicated. But there are possibilities to apply. So just contact one of the Euros advisors. We are 63 in all of Sweden, so you will find one of us. To find a job, very quickly, Arbetsförmedlingen, this is, of course, the PES office, the unemployment office or the employment office in Sweden. And here you have the link. Most of the jobs are, of course, in Swedish. But you can always make a search using an English word, and you will find also that there are several jobs in English. And then we have a lot of other websites, and you can find most of them, the biggest ones, from this Arbetsförmedlingens website. Here you have the link, and here you can find, I believe it's like 150 different websites with job offers. And the main thing here is that finding a job in Sweden requires a proactive approach. Only a small portion of all vacancies are posted on Arbetsförmedlingen. I believe it's like 3%. The rest is out there. We have LinkedIn, I already told you. This is our groups for now. And in January, we are going to create one for the life science sector, for the Öresund region. And then we have Facebook. You can chat with us every Friday. We have, of course, EuropeanJobDice.eu. This is a great page. I just love it. And the main reason is that you are actually able to sit at home and be part of an event in Sweden. I make 2 events in Lund per year, and several of the employers are streaming their needs by this webpage. And we, of course, put there all the actual vacancies, and they only stay there for max 2 months, and then they are off. So we don't have these old vacancies scrapping. So this site is really good. And euros.europa.eu. I believe most of the people know about it. And the last part, apply for a job in Sweden. Email is very frequently used and accepted. Application should be typewritten in Swedish or English. Generally, you do not enclose a photo. An application consists of a personal letter. This is very important, a personal letter. This is very Swedish also. But no longer than 1 page, not a Roman. So just one letter that you explain who you are, what can you offer to the company, and why the company should employ you. This is the 3 main points that you should put in your personal letter. And then a CV. References can also be given at the interview, and you may be asked to present evidence of professional qualifications and diplomas later on. And you can, of course, do the recognition of foreign diplomas. Most of the diplomas don't need recognition, but there are some, especially in the healthcare professions. And if you are insecure, you can always contact one of Euro's advisors. Okay, that's all for me right now about Sweden. Do you have any questions? Yes, please.
Or Swedish?
In English and using the microphone.
You are from Sweden.
Yeah.
So you are another family, so maybe from South America or something. So okay, I was living there from 76 to 83. So I want to go back to working. I have my CV, I have everything, but from the internet it's difficult to make it. So I have some chance. Har jag något chans att åka dit igen?
Okay.
Thank you.
I hear that you can speak a little bit of Swedish, and of course this is good. And as I told you before, if you are looking for a job in a sector that we are in need of, then of course your chances will be very high because you already can speak a little bit of Swedish also. But if you are looking for any kind of job, even jobs without the need of an education, then you are competing with lots of other Swedes. So I believe the correct answer to your question is in the engineer sector, in the healthcare sector, yes, you have huge chance in Sweden. But in the other sectors, it perhaps will be tough. And I advise you to apply your jobs from Spain, not going to Sweden and applying there. It costs too much. Anyone else? Yes?
Thank you. What kind of level do you need for level of English? For example, do you need to work in Sweden?
Your kind.
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Is the question. And another.
It's a very good question because if you don't, many times if you can express yourself as fluently as you perhaps do it in Spanish, you think, okay, my English is not that good. But if you have to think like this. If I can communicate my thoughts, even professionally, then your English is good. And if you can read, write also, then your English is
Yes,
good.
really, I want mean about a certificate or something like that. But
my experience is that the employers they look at the certificate, but it doesn't mean that much. They will decide when they are sitting in front of you, listening, you speaking in English.
okay, thank you very much.
Some more questions?
Some more questions? questions?
Hello, I want to ask a question. Is Novo Nordisk looking for computer technicians?
Sorry?
Novo Nordisk.
Novo Nordisk.
Is it looking for computer technicians?
Also yes. Also yes. And please go into their website, Novo Nordisk. This is www.novonordisk.dk because they are in Denmark, DK. And they have a lot of positions published there, also technicians. And of course, don't forget that they are updating the information all the time. Yes?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here in Spain, we used to put all our titles and degrees and all certificates in our CV. But I found that searching for jobs in English countries that I tried and unsuccessfully. But I want to know if, from an employer point of view, in Sweden, how do you looking for an employee? Sorry, if you're looking for many degrees, or you're looking for, if you're asking for a specific degree only, you want to this degree only. I mean, here you have after your career you have another master and maybe another postgraduate certificate. But the employer maybe don't look for this that much highest degrees, only one for a specific level. What is the point of view from the employer in Sweden?
Well, the employer wants to see relevant education, of course. If you have several, you should always put it in paper, because sometimes they are looking for a combination. But you have to remember, you have to have this in mind. I'm talking about Sweden right now, that if an employer are looking for someone with several kind of degrees and experience in the different sectors, they are not going to publish this on the employment office in Sweden. They are going to use a private company to look for persons with your skills. So my recommendation to you is that use LinkedIn. Put yourself on LinkedIn and make you visible using the different kind of groups out there.
Thank you.
One question more? Okay. I have a couple of questions from you to the public online.
Shoot.
The first one is someone is watching you and telling me that you look very handsome today.
Thank you.
So, it's true. It's on the website. The other question
it's going
is
to cost me. I know that.
No. It's true. The other question is, if you are an IT student, if you have some chances to find jobs or maybe practice in Sweden.
Yes, if you participate on events. This is also the thing. When the employer publish a vacancy, they usually are looking for someone concrete with skills and with proven working experience. But if you are participating online or on-site on the events, you have the possibility to show to the employer who you are. And a lot of time they have work possibilities that they are not marketizing out there.
Okay. I'd like to ask you also for the LinkedIn group for the Eurozone region, because I think it's quite interesting for the IT people.
Yes, I agree with you.
So, explain a little bit how it works.
Okay, that was the question. We have three main tasks or rules to be part of these LinkedIn groups. One of them is that your LinkedIn profile has to be in English. The other one is that you have to put all your skills, because many times the employer are looking for the skills. They have to know .NET and C++ and something else. And they just look for these 3 keywords. And if you don't put these 3 keywords, of course, you will not be found. So this is important. Make your profile at LinkedIn as big as possible. And the third request on the main part of these groups, I'm actually going back to the list of the groups here. On the Sweden ICT and IT specialists and the engineers for Sweden, they are also looking for at least 3 years of accomplished, proven working experience. But this is something that we, use advisors, are looking. And of course, if you have 2.5 years or 2 years of working experience, and you have specialties in programs that we are in a huge need, we, of course, will make a decision if you can be part of this group or not. Okay? And for nurses for Sweden, there we don't have any request for proven working experience. So if you are a new graduate nurse, you can apply for this group. And for all other professions, you can always apply for the first group, Euro Sweden. This is open for everyone. And there we are also, of course, marketizing our events all around Sweden, and of course we are also informing about new LinkedIn groups, new things which are happening in Sweden. Yes?
Any question more? ¿Alguna otra pregunta?
And actually, I am representing several, the last point here,
Yep.
I'm representing several companies here from Sweden. They couldn't make it, but I'm representing them. And of course, my part is on the ICT and engineering. So please come to my stand, and when it's time to make the company presentations, I have 2 or 3 companies that they will present themselves to you by movies that we have made together, that they are explaining who they are, what they need, and how to contact them.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miguel.
So thank you.
So.